Hi everyone, namaste. My name is Alex Nashton. Thank you for joining us here at BODHI. This is my lovely demonstrator, Chris Yates. He has a broken thumb, so he's not gonna be demonstrating everything today, but I'll make sure that you guys know what you're supposed to be doing unless you too have a broken thumb, and then you can also adjust accordingly and follow exactly what Chris is doing today. Today we're moving through a beginner's foundational flow class, so make sure that you have 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, no worries. You'll just use whatever you've got handy at home. So I usually say that like old shoe boxes work pretty well, or really thick textbooks are a pretty good block substitute. And then you'll want to have a blanket nearby and maybe a pillow, or if you have a bolster at home, you'll want to grab a bolster. And then you can come to a comfortable seat. And I usually recommend that you let your hips be just a little bit higher than the level of the knees. So sitting up on a block, sitting up on a bolster, you'll let the palms of your hands come down to your thighs and close your eyes. And as soon as the eyes are closed, you'll notice where your attention is, where your focus is. And begin to concentrate a little bit more on the movement of your breath. Our bodies were designed in a very specific way to expand as we breathe in and contract as we breathe out. So you might take one hand to your belly here and feel that each time you inhale, your belly kind of pushes out into your hand ever so slightly. And that as you exhale, the belly button sinks back in towards the spine. Now, some of us might have become accustomed to breathing in the opposite way, where the belly kind of pulls in as we inhale. We might have that conditioning kind of in our nervous system. But know that the body was created in this way to be expansive with each inhale. So give yourself permission to take up more space in the room as you breathe in. As women especially, we are taught to keep our stomachs sucked in and to appear skinnier. And so now I encourage you just to let it be easeful. And then you can either keep your hands where they are, or you can take your 2 hands up to your rib cage. And feel very specifically as you breathe in and as you breathe out, the rib cage widening like a butterfly opening its wings. And coming back towards center with each exhale. Widening as you breathe in. Coming back towards center with each breath out. And now finally, we'll move our awareness up to our chests. And you can either keep your hands on your thighs, or you can optionally take one hand right over the center of your chest. And feel as you breathe in and as you breathe out, the rise and fall of your chest. The widening, the expansion. And the knitting back together, the contraction. And now you'll keep one hand on your chest and take the other hand to your belly. And focus on evenly breathing into and out of these 3 respective parts of the body. So as you inhale, you simultaneously fill your belly, expanding your rib cage, lifting all the way up to your chest. And then breathing out, releasing from your chest, your rib cage, and your belly all at once. You inhale and let all 3 parts expand synchronously and contract all at once. We'll take just a few more breaths here. And at the bottom of your next exhale, you'll release your hands down to the tops of your thighs. Let your chin relax down towards your chest. Let the back of your neck lengthen. And then blink your eyes open. Take in 1 point on the ground in front of you before lifting your gaze up to take in the rest of the room. So from here, you're going to interlace your fingers at the back of your skull and widen your elbows. With that width across your elbows, you're going to press the back of your head into your hands, almost like you're trying to give yourself a double chin here, and use your hands to lift the back of your skull up higher so you give yourself a little extra length in the neck. And now make sure that your elbows stay wide apart, that they're not caving in towards each other. Breathe in and think about sitting up a little bit taller. And now as you breathe out, keeping the pressure of your head back into your hands, you're going to revolve your right elbow back and your left elbow forward. So coming into a very gentle twist here. You might notice that this left sitting bone starts to kind of inch forward here, but I want you to see if you can keep it plugged back, that you can keep your 2 sitting bones level on whatever is underneath you, whether that's a pillow or a block. Again, every breath in lifts you up a little bit taller. Every breath out revolves you into the twist just a tiny bit more. Elbows stay wide. And you'll note that this really forces the twist to move more into your upper back than anywhere else. It's a way that we begin to find mobility and rotation in the spine. As you inhale, bring yourself back to center. Switch the crossing of your fingers so the other pinky's on top. Sit up a little bit taller. And then as you exhale, you'll twist to the left. So left elbow moves back, right elbow moves forward. Your sitting bones stay level on the block or the floor beneath you, so rather than letting the right inch forward, you keep them square. Every breath in lifts you up a little bit taller. Every breath out revolves you into the twist just a tiny bit more. Again, elbows stay wide, so it's really coming from the upper back. And now you'll breathe in and come back to center. Switch the cross of your fingers one more time. Exhale, twist to the right again. And this time, pause. Keep your chest moving in the same direction that it is right now, and let your left fingertips come forward on the same trajectory as your shoulder. Your right fingertips come back. So now we're not using the arms, we're not using the hands to revolve us into the twist. The arms are just an extension of the way we were already rotating here, of the mobility that we were already finding in the upper back. So make sure that you're not collapsing down here, but that you keep your chest lifted, that you keep the tiniest little arch in the uppermost part of your body. And with your next breath in, you'll come back to center. You'll interlace your fingers one last time at the back of your skull. Switch the crossing so other pinky's on top. It'll feel a little awkward. Elbows move out wide. You press the back of your head into your hands. And then with your next exhale, you revolve to the left. And so you find that point, you find that edge where it feels like you can't go anymore. And then keeping your chest moving in that same direction, you'll let your left fingertips extend back, an extension of your left shoulder. Your right fingertips extend forward, extension of your right shoulder. And so note, you're not using the leverage of the shoulders to propel you here. You're not pushing down through the palm of the right hand. You're just letting the hands land wherever they naturally do and focusing more on revolving into the uppermost part of your back. And then you'll breathe in and bring yourself back to center. You'll breathe out, and with a lengthened spine, start to slowly walk your fingertips forward. So you begin to open up the hips just a tiny bit more. You take a breath in here, keeping the spine long, keeping your chest moving forward. You breathe out and stay. Continue to send your sitting bones down and back. Take another breath in. Another breath out here. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then slowly walk your fingers back towards your body. Switch the crossing of your legs. So now the other ankle, the other shin is in front or on top, depending on how exactly you are seated. And then fingertips come in front of you again, and maintaining that length in your spine, you slowly start to ease yourself forward. As you ease forward, your sitting bones plug down and back. You focus on breathing, on keeping space, on keeping width across the front of your chest. So rather than letting your shoulders crunch down here, rather than letting your upper back round forward, you give yourself space. And we'll take 3 breaths here. 2 more. Last one. And then you'll slowly start to ease yourself back up. And now you'll just cross into your ankles and slide whatever you were sitting on out of the way. Shift your weight forward onto all fours, so you come onto hands and knees. So wrists are gonna make their way underneath your shoulders. Your knees are gonna be underneath your hips. You'll close your eyes here and just start to draw some circles with your rib cage. So taking your right side ribs over to the right and then lifting them up towards the sky, left side ribs to the left, and then you drop your rib cage down towards the ground. So circling it out here, almost like you were swinging around a jump rope, as if your tailbone and the crown of your head were the 2 ends that you were holding onto, and the rest of your body could churn and circle around. And then make sure you're switching directions so you go the other way. That you not only move in the ways that feel very normal and natural, but also in the ways that feel a little awkward and a little uncomfortable. And now from this place, you'll come back to a neutral lengthened spine. And you'll separate your feet just as wide apart as your knees. Press the tops of your feet down pretty hard on the ground. Imagine that that was your anchor here. And as you next breathe in, you'll lift your left fingertips up to the sky. So opening your chest up towards the left. Pause here. Make sure that your right hip is stacked over your right knee. So for most of us, that means shifting both hips over to the right just another inch or 2. Good. And then with your next exhale, you're gonna thread the back of your left hand between your right wrist and right knee. So you drop your shoulder and your ear all the way down to the earth. Good, and so remember here that your lower body is your anchor, so the tops of the feet stay plugged down, knee distance apart. So Chris, you can widen your feet just a little bit more. Good, and now you'll begin to walk your right fingertips forward. You'll walk them out in front of you and find one long line from your right hip bone out through your right fingertips. And then walk your right fingertips over towards the left just a little bit more. So you give yourself a little extra revolution, a little extra twist. Now with each breath in, can you imagine that your spine could get longer here? And with each breath out, you try to twist yourself just a tiny bit more. Again, every breath in pulls you longer. Every breath out revolves you into that twist just a little bit more. Take one more breath in here. And then you'll exhale and slide the palm of your right hand back next to your face. You'll press down through the palm of that right hand, inhale, and reach your left fingertips up to the sky. And then you exhale your left hand back down again. You'll inhale and reach right fingertips up to the sky this time. Pause. Make sure that your hips are still stacked over your knees so everybody can take their hips just another inch or two over to the left. Good, and then with your exhale, you thread back of the right hand between left wrist and knee. You drop your shoulder and your ear all the way down to the ground. Walk your left fingertips forward. And then walk them over to the right. Beautiful. And so you imagine that there's one long line now from your left hip through your left fingertips. That with each breath in, you could extend yourself. And that with each breath out, you could spin into that twist just a tiny bit more. So again, every breath in pulls you longer. Every breath out revolves you into the twist just a little bit more. We'll take just a few more breaths here. Relax the muscles of your face. Close your eyes. I like to pick on Chris, since he's the only other human I'm really seeing right now. Okay, go ahead and slide the palm of your left hand back to frame your face. Inhale your right fingertips up to the sky. And then exhale your right hand back down again. And now you're gonna walk your hands out a little further in front of your shoulders. And now Chris is gonna stay on his knuckles because again, broken thumb. Fun fact, I'm taking an anthropology class in school right now, and gorillas are also knuckle walkers, Chris. Just in case you wanted to feel connected to someone else out there. I don't think any gorillas will be taking this yoga class. Okay, but unless, if your hands are totally fine and you're not a gorilla and you're not Chris and your thumb is not broken, you're gonna open up the palms of your hands and press the palms of your hands down flat on the floor. And then you'll draw an imaginary line from your middle finger down to the center of your wrist. If you've taken class with me before, you've heard me say this a million times, but you're gonna parallel those imaginary lines with the two side edges of the mat. So that might mean that you need to turn your hands in a little bit. For some of you, it might mean that you need to turn your hands out, but that's gonna help you find your own anatomical neutral. Once you've got it, you'll tuck your toes under and push your hips up and back towards the ceiling. So coming into a downward facing dog. Nice. In this downward facing dog, we're putting this action into the shoulders of trying to externally rotate them. In other words, you're trying to spin your triceps in towards your ears. So the biceps revolve out towards the sky. It's like you could take that crease right there in the front of your elbow and spin it to face the front of your mat, to face the top of your mat. And now with that action, you'll plug your heels down and work to lengthen out the backs of your legs. And notice how that changes the sensation in your lower back. Notice what exactly is happening in your lower back. If you're reaching your heels down and you feel that your lower back is rounding here, you're gonna wanna put a little bit more of a bend into your knees. And for many of us, we stay with this bend in the knees for years and years into our yoga practice. But with that bend in your knees, you'll look forward and take a slow walk with your feet up to meet your hands. When they get there, you'll separate your feet inner hip distance apart. If you need to measure that, you take your two fists side by side between the highest part of each inner arch, and that'll kind of give you the right proportion. That'll kind of give you the right distance. But once you've got it, I want you to put a pretty generous bend into your knees. And rather than letting the knees knock in towards each other, see if you can keep pulling the knees apart so they stay directly over the ankles. And now you'll breathe in and walk your hands up to your shins. Keep your knees bent, but try to find a flat back in the upper body. So the crown of your head pulls forward, your shoulders draw back away from your ears. Rather than rounding into the lowest part of your spine, there's a tiny little arch, which means your pubic bone is reaching to the back of the mat. Your sitting bones are trying to flare up towards the sky. And then I'm going to have you take a block, or if you don't have a block, your shoebox or your textbook, underneath your nose. And then you're going to put your right hand on that block and reach your left fingers up to the sky. And as you do, you're going to put a bend into your right knee even more and try to lengthen out the back of your left leg. Good. And so here, notice that Chris is really lengthening his left waistline, but he also needs to lengthen the right side too. So think about pulling your right hip away from your right armpit. Yeah, exactly. Both shoulders are drawing down your back away from your ears. Take another breath in. And then exhale, release your left hand down. Let your left hand replace the right hand on the block. Find that little halfway lift again with both knees bent. And then reach right fingertips up to the sky this time. And as the right fingertips extend up, you're going to bend into the left knee and try to lengthen out the back of the right leg. Good. So many of us, as we begin the process of twisting here, will allow the pelvis to kind of shift over to one side and let the knees collapse in towards each other. So rather than bending and letting your knees knock together, see if you can keep them pulled apart here. Take another breath in, and then exhale, release your right hand down. You can set your block aside. This time as you inhale, take your hands to your shins, find a flat back, and the backs of the legs are long now. Good. And so rather than shifting so much weight back towards your heels, see if you can take a little more weight towards your toes. And then with your exhale, you keep your thighs engaged, so keep your thighs firm. Backs of the legs are long. You let your upper body relax down towards the ground. So upper body folds. Beautiful. Breathe in and sweep your arms around and up to the sky. Stand all the way up. And with your exhale, you bring palms of your hands to touch at the center of your chest. Inhale, reach your arms around and up again, and then pause here and make sure there's balance between the front and back planes of your body. So what I tend to see a lot of in this shape is, Chris, can you flare your rib cage forward for me for 1 second? Yeah, I tend to see a lot of that when I ask people to reach their arms up overhead. So I want you guys to think about knitting your bottom two ribs in towards each other, almost like you could puff up and make space for the back of the rib cage here. Your tailbone is reaching down. Your pubic bone is lifting up the front plane of the body. And now as you exhale, you swan dive your arms forward and down, trying to keep that balance between the front and back planes of your body. And then you'll inhale and walk your hands up to your shins. You find that flat back again like we were just doing. And now as you exhale, you bend into your knees. Set the palms of your hands down and step just your left foot way back behind you. Good. And then make sure your right knee, make sure your front knee is at a 90-degree bend. So your knee is on top of your ankle, which might mean that you need to slide the ball of your left foot back a little bit more until you can coax that knee over your ankle. Beautiful. From here, you'll reach the right fingertips up to the sky. Very good. You'll breathe in the same way that you were before, using each exhale to spin you into the twist a little bit more, but very similar to our first seated twist. It's really coming from the upper back more than anywhere else. So if you're twisting here, and you find that your legs are revolving into the twist with you, we don't want them to be moving into the twist. So keep the big toe mound of your right foot anchored down. Keep your right knee moving in the same trajectory as your toes, and keep your left heel stacked over the ball of your foot. One more breath in here. And then with your exhale, you set your right hand down. And we're gonna step the right foot back to meet the left foot in a plank pose. If this is feeling like too much for your wrist today or too much for your core, you can definitely set your knees down onto the floor. Otherwise, you keep them lifted. And note that Chris is on fists, but the palms of your hands are gonna be flat on the ground. So staying in that plank pose, you'll keep your belly button squeezing in towards your spine. And try not to let this space between your shoulder blades drop down towards the floor. Instead, think about keeping the back of your heart lifted up just as high as your shoulder blades. Your gaze is just slightly forward past the top of the mat. Good, and now everyone is gonna shift their shoulders forward, so moving past their wrists. You'll come high up onto your tiptoes. Your knees are either lifted or lowered. You exhale to bend your elbows straight back by the sides of your body. Don't let them wing out, and come all the way onto your belly. Nice. So from here, we're gonna move through a few little back bends. The tops of your feet are gonna make their way to the floor, which means that every single toenail is gonna come down onto the mat. You engage your thighs so your kneecaps lift up off of the ground. And note that that doesn't mean the tops of your feet leave the ground. So Chris, lift your feet for a second. So none of this. Keep the tops of your feet glued down as the thighs stay engaged. And then unclench your butt. I have a teacher in New York City who used to always say, if you don't stop clenching your butt, you're going to become a tight ass. So no butt clenching here. Your hands are by the sides of your body. Your elbows are still squeezing in, so not winging out. You breathe in and lift your head, your neck, and your chest up off of the ground. Keep your pubic bone pressing down, tailbone lengthening back. Exhale and lay yourself down. Breathe in, lift your head, lift your neck, lift your chest up. Pause. So you might notice that your shoulders are kind of creeping up by your ears here, and I want you to keep them pulling down your back away from your ears. So there's lots of space for the sides of the neck. As you exhale, lay yourself back down. And then one more time, you'll breathe in and lift up. Breathe out, press down through the palms of your hands, press the tops of your feet to the floor, come up onto all fours. And then toes will tuck under and you'll lift the hips up and back into a downward facing dog again. You'll take a breath in here and a breath out. Breathe in and look forward. Breathe out and step your left foot up in between your hands. Good. Again, left knee is over the left ankle, so that left knee is in a 90-degree bend. And if you notice that your upper back is kind of crunching down here, collapsing down, think about finding a little more arch there. And that might mean taking a block underneath your right hand, and that's totally fine. You find whatever support you need to give yourself space along the upper body. And now you'll inhale and reach left fingertips up to the sky. Good, and remember one more time that the legs are not twisting with you. The legs stay on their own trajectory. Every breath in pulls you longer. Every breath out spins you into the twist a little bit more. Your shoulders continue to pull down your back away from your ears. We'll take a few more breaths here. And then you'll exhale and release your left hand down. This time you'll step your right foot forward to meet your left foot. Take your hands to your shins and find a flat back. Again, a little more weight towards your toes, a little less on your heels. You exhale and fold forward and down. Inhale, reach your arms all the way around and up to the sky. Stand all the way up. Exhale, palms of your hands come to touch at the center of your chest. You inhale to reach your arms around and up again, keeping the muscles of your face soft. Exhale, dive forward and down, backs of the legs long. You inhale and lift halfway up. Exhale, put a bend into your knees, plant your hands down, right foot steps way back behind you. Inhale your left fingertips up to the sky. This time you'll exhale and immediately bring your left hand back down. Inhale, step your left foot back to meet your right foot in a plank pose. Your knees are either lifted or lowered. Either way, shoulders come forward past your wrist. Your core is engaged, so your belly button is squeezing in towards your spine. And then you bend your elbows straight back, lower either half, actually let's just lower all the way down today. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of your feet down on the floor. Thighs engage, so kneecaps lift up. Again, you breathe in and lift your head, your neck, and your chest up. Pause. Chin comes in ever so slightly towards your throat. Shoulders pull away from your ears. Take another breath in here. And then with your exhale, you press up onto all fours. Tuck your toes under. Hips lift up and back, downward facing dog. Take a breath in here. And a breath out. One more inhale. And exhale. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, right foot steps up between your hands. Let it make its way up to 90 degrees. Inhale, reach your right fingertips up to the sky. And then exhale, you immediately lower the right hand back down. Inhale, step your left foot up to meet your right foot, hands to your shins, you find a flat back. Exhale, fold forward again. Inhale, reach your arms all the way around and up to the sky. Come to stand all the way up. Exhale, bring the palms of your hands to touch at the center of your chest, and then pause. We're gonna move now into a pose that is quite possibly everyone's favorite pose. It's called Utkatasana. So you'll bring the big toe mounds of your feet to touch, and your heels are gonna be just a sliver wider apart. Now, I have clients that say, I can't bring the big toe mounds of my feet together. I have bunions. So if you have bunions, you bring your bunions together, let your heels be just slightly wider apart. And then keeping the feet there, keeping them as they are, you're gonna bend your knees and sit your butt down and back almost like you are sitting in a chair. With that, you can either keep the palms of your hands connected at the center of your chest, or if you wanna up the level of intensity, you reach your fingertips up to the sky. Now in this chair pose, I want you to shift a little more weight back onto your heels, a little less on your toes, and try to sit your butt down and back as much as you possibly can. Good. Notice that many of us have a tendency here to let the upper back round. Try to fight your fight to keep the arch in the uppermost part of your back so your chest stays lifted. You're working to draw your arm bones all the way back to frame your ears. And again, there's that external rotation in the shoulders. So the pinky sides of the arms revolve in towards each other. The thumb sides try to spin out. Take one more breath in here. And this time with your exhale, you're gonna straighten out both of your legs. Bring the palms of your hands to touch at the center of your chest. Take a breath in here. And a breath out. Release your chin down to your chest, blink open your eyes, and then separate your stance so your feet are once again inner hip distance apart. You're gonna keep your hips directly over your ankles, so hip bones in the front are facing directly forward, almost like you had two headlights here in the front of your hips. You want them to be pointing directly out in front of you, not tilting down towards the ground, nor are they shooting up towards the sky. You keep them moving straight forward. And then with that, you're gonna reach both arms up to the sky. And then you'll interlace your fingers at the back of your skull. Once again, elbows come out wide. And now as you exhale, so keeping your two headlights facing forward, you're gonna revolve your right elbow back and your left elbow forward. So note that the hips are not coming into the twist with you. The hips stay square, the hips stay stable. But with each breath in, you try to lift up through the crown of your head a little bit more. With each breath out, you revolve into the twist. Good. So press the back of your skull into your hands. Yeah, there you go. Good. Your left hip drags back, your right hip pushes forward in space. A little more arch behind the upper back. Good. And now as you inhale, you come back to center. You switch the crossing of your fingers, so other pinkies on top. Elbows stay wide. As you exhale, you revolve to the left. So left elbow moves back, right elbow moves forward, and note that my hips are not following me into that twist, but the hips stay facing forward. Your two headlights are still directly out in front of you, which for many of us means that the left hip is going to have to shift forward ever so slightly here. It kind of has a tendency to creep back in space, but keep it square. And keep weight on the big toe mounds of both of your feet. Nice. And Chris, you can turn your left heel out to the left just a little bit more. There you go. Good. Elbows stay wide. A little more arch in the upper back. So you really have to fight your fight to twist here. Lower body stays anchored in. The twist comes from the uppermost part of your body. Inhale, bring yourself back to center. Switch the cross of your fingers one more time. And this time as you exhale, you revolve to the right. So right elbow moves back, left elbow moves forward in space. Once you get to that point, once you get to that edge where you feel like you can't go any further, you're gonna extend your arms out to a T shape. So the right fingertips reach back along the trajectory of your right shoulder. The left fingertips reach forward along the trajectory of your left shoulder. So it might mean that you don't twist as much as you think you normally can. And that's all right, because this is helping us increase our capacity to twist and move from side to side. Activate your wrists, extend your fingertips. Inhale, unwind yourself, come back to center. Exhale, interlace your fingers the awkward way behind your skull. Elbows come out wide. You inhale and lift up through the crown of your head. Exhale, keep your elbows wide, but push your right elbow forward, left elbow back. Again, every breath in lifts you up a little bit more. Every breath out revolves you into the twist. Chris, you can take the big toe mounds of your feet in towards each other, heels out just a smidge wider. Not that much. Not that much. That's a little better. Okay, and then once you found that edge where you feel like you can't go anymore, you can extend your arms out to a T shape. Yeah, good. And so you're still really using the mobility of the upper back to twist here rather than anything else. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Keep your collarbones spread wide apart and make sure you're still breathing. Still breathing. Inhale, come back to center. Both arms reach up to the sky. Exhale, go ahead and take your hands to your hips. And with your hands on your hips, once again, you'll keep your two hip bones, you'll keep your two headlights in the front facing forward. You'll shift your weight onto your right foot, and keeping your eyes focused on one point in front of you, you'll start to lift your left foot up off of the ground. And now very slowly, very carefully, you're gonna take your left foot back behind you and step the ball of the left foot way back, so coming into a high lunge now. Reach both arms up to the sky. So in this high lunge, what we're really looking for is the right knee, the front knee, to be bent to 90 degrees. So Chris is demonstrating that really well here. Not anymore. Now he's a mess. Okay, he's coming back in again. He's redeeming himself. He's redeemed. The knee is over the ankle, and this back leg is as straight as it can be while still giving you space for the lower back. So Chris, can you show me a really excessive back bend in the lower back? Yeah, so if you find yourself experiencing any crunchiness in the lowest part of your back, I want you to put a bend into your left knee for a moment, drop your tailbone down, and then work to lengthen out your spine here. Yeah, really good. And then with the length in that spine, from there, you work towards straightening out the left leg again, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll get there. Take another breath in here. And then exhale, step your left foot up next to your right foot. So you come to stand once again at the top of the mat. Your hands can come to your hips. This time, keeping your eyes focused on that one point in front of you, keeping your two hip bones facing forward, so not pointing down towards the ground. You're gonna shift your weight onto your left foot this time. Your right knee hovers. And then you slowly and carefully step the ball of the right foot way back behind you, bending into the front knee, bending into the left knee. So that left knee stops at 90 degrees. Your knee is over your ankle. Your back leg, your left leg is, not your left leg, your right leg this time is as straight as it can be while still giving you space for the lower back. So once again, if there's this crunching in the lowest part of your back, you need to put a bend in your right knee. You need to drop your tailbone down and try to zip up the front plane of your body. And a pretty good indicator, in case you can't tell on your own, of whether or not your lower back is crunching is coming back to those two headlights in the front of your hips. If the lower back is crunching, the pelvis is going to kind of tilt forward, so your headlights are going to kind of point down towards the ground. So again, we're looking for them to be pointing directly forward. Take another breath in here. Another breath out. One more inhale. And then you'll exhale and slowly step your right foot back up to meet your left foot again at the top of the mat. Take an inhale here. And an exhale. We're going to move into that high lunge one more time, so shift your weight onto your right foot. Left foot floats up. And then as delicately as you can, you step the ball of the left foot way back behind you. Bend your front knee, bend your right knee to 90 degrees. And now both arms reach up to the sky. You'll interlace your fingers at the back of your skull this time, widen your elbows. Keep your hip bones, keep your headlights facing directly forward. And then as you exhale, your right elbow moves back, your left elbow moves forward in space. And once again, fight your fight. Make sure that the lower body is not revolving into the twist with you, but instead you keep the big toe mounds of your feet anchored down. Once you find that edge, once you find that place where you can't revolve anymore, from there you extend your fingertips out. So the sides of the waist are long. Your shoulders are relaxed down your back away from your ears. Take an inhale and an exhale here. One more breath in. As you exhale, unwind yourself. Step your left foot up to meet your right foot. Hands to your hips. You make sure your headlights are facing forward. And then keeping your eyes focused on that one point in front of you, you shift your weight onto your left foot. Your right foot floats up. As delicately as you can, you step the ball of your right foot way back behind you. Left knee or front knee is bent to 90. Arms extend upward. So once you've settled into the shape again, once you've landed, you're going to interlace your fingers at the back of your skull. Switch the crossing of your fingers, so other pinkies on top, and then take the elbows wide at first. You inhale to lift yourself higher. You exhale to spin to the left this time. So left elbow revolves back, right elbow pushes forward in space. Fight your fight to keep the arch in the upper back. So chest is not collapsing down here as you twist. Beautiful. And then you're going to extend right fingertips forward, left fingertips back, following the trajectory of your shoulders. So if your shoulders are here, your arms are not going further into the twist. Arms are staying in the same plane as the shoulders. Really nice. One breath in here. One breath out. And then you'll inhale and unwind yourself, come back to center. Exhale, step your right foot up to meet your left foot. Good, we're gonna take one more chair pose. So this time you can either keep the big toe mounds of your feet together, or you can separate your feet so they're inner hip distance apart, just to give yourself an experience of both. You might like to see how it feels to have a different positioning in the feet. But with that, you're gonna bend your knees, sit your butt down and back, fingertips reach up towards the sky. Again, there's that external rotation in the shoulders, so the thumb sides of the hand spin out, pinky sides spin in towards each other. Beautiful, and so like Chris is so naturally demonstrating here, I don't know if you guys can see from your angle, but his knees are knocking in towards each other, and that's definitely not what we want here. So try to keep your knees pulling apart, knees stay just as wide as the ankles. There's a little more weight back on your heels, a little less on your toes. You work to sit lower. As you sit lower, let your shoulders relax down your back away from your ears. And then with your next breath in, you straighten your legs, stand yourself up. Exhale, bring the palms of your hands to touch at the center of your chest. Inhale, sweep the arms around and up again. Exhale, dive yourself forward and down. Inhale, hands to your shins, lift halfway up. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands down, step your feet back into a plank pose. And the knees are either lifted or lowered, shoulders shift forward, you release all the way down onto your belly. Nice. So from your belly, you're gonna take your arms out to a big V shape in front of you on the ground. And then you're gonna bring your right knee out and up to a 90-degree bend, so your toes are facing the right side. Yeah, exactly. The top of your left foot is on the ground. Beautiful. And now you're gonna take your left ear and rest it on top of your left upper arm. And as you do, you're gonna reach your right fingertips up towards the sky, and then you'll let them fall back behind you. So not releasing the whole arm down, but letting the twist come from the entire upper back. As it does, you'll let the back of your skull come to the ground on the other side of your left arm. And let your chest spin up towards the ceiling. So it's okay here if your right knee starts to lift up off of the ground a little bit. That's perfectly fine. We're just getting into the twist in a slightly different way than we normally do. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, unwind yourself. Slowly bring yourself back onto your belly. Slide your right foot back to meet your left foot. Your arms are in that big V shape in front of you, and then we'll take it over to the other side. So left knee comes out and up to the left. Beautiful. So taking that left knee to a 90-degree bend, your left toes are facing the left side. And now you're going to rest your right ear on your right upper arm. You reach the left fingertips up to the sky. And then let the back of your left hand, your left shoulder blade move towards the ground on the other side of you. And as you do, you'll let the back of your skull maybe rest on the floor. You give yourself permission to slide into that twist. And it can be a pretty lazy twist here. It doesn't have to be such an effortful one. You can relax into it a little bit more. It doesn't need to be perfect. Take another breath in here. And as you breathe out, you'll slowly unwind yourself from the twist. And then you'll ease yourself over onto your back. So you'll flip yourself over. Good. So from here, you'll bend into your knees and take the soles of your feet on the ground. And now if you have a block, I'm going to recommend that you use a block, but if you don't, using a pillow or a rolled up blanket will work just fine. You're gonna slide that block on the lowest, flattest setting underneath your sacrum. Your sacrum is that flat triangular bone at the base of your spine, just above your tailbone. And you'll know that the block is in the right spot, very similar to all of our other lunging poses, by bringing your awareness back to your two headlights in the front of your hips and imagining them pointing directly up towards the sky. If the block is too low, your headlights are gonna tilt towards your chin. If the block is too high, your headlights are gonna tilt towards your knees a little bit more. So you're looking for that sweet spot in between. And now be wary here of what exactly is happening in your knees, because for many of us, they have a tendency to kind of fall away from each other. But I want you to make sure that the big toe mounds of your feet are glued down, that your knees are still over your ankles in this position. And then you can let your arms, you can let your hands relax down by the sides of your body, your palms face up. Let your eyes close. And give yourself the opportunity just to feel into the movement of your breath once again here. It might be a little different than when we started the practice today. Especially in this position, which puts us in a relationship to gravity where our diaphragm kind of coaxes each exhale longer than the inhale that precedes it. And that's a good thing, because it helps us drop into the relaxation response a little bit more. So we'll take a few more breaths here. And then you'll slowly start to take one foot at a time up towards the ceiling. And as you do, know that you don't have to straighten out your legs here. You can keep a little bend in the knees, enough that the backs of the legs can be relaxed. But from here, you're just gonna start to kind of metronome your feet from side to side. So massaging out the lower back here. Good, and then like you are a beetle that got stuck on its back, you're gonna very vigorously shake out your legs. This is Chris's favorite thing to do. And let them get really jiggly, like really, really spazzy. It's not a very cute movement, but it helps us kind of shake the muscle away from the bone, let go of any lingering tension in the legs and in the hips. And so with that, once you feel complete with it, you'll bring one foot and then the other foot back down towards the ground. Lift your hips up. Slide the block out of the way. So the back of your pelvis lands on the floor once again, and then you'll bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees come apart here. Now, if this puts any tugging or pulling sensation into the knees, or feels very uncomfortable for the hips, you might want to slide a block underneath each knee or a pillow underneath each knee just for a little extra cushioning. But know that you don't have to here. And then the palms of your hands can either face up beside you, or you can bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your chest, and we'll use this as our final resting shape today. As you rest here, you might want to bring your awareness back to the way you're breathing once again, to make this Shavasana a more meditative part of your practice. To feel the simultaneous expansion and contraction of your belly, your rib cage, and your chest as you inhale and as you exhale. And then you'll slowly begin to deepen your breath. Invite some movement back into your hands, maybe even into your feet as well. If your feet were close together and your knees had fallen apart, you'll slide your hands down to the outer edges of your knees and draw your knees up so the soles of your feet connect with the ground once again. And then you can ever so gently let your knees rock from side to side, moving your hips in a slightly different direction. From there, you'll let your knees come all the way over onto one side. Press down through the palms of your hands and ease yourself up to sit. Palms of your hands come to touch at the center of your chest. Release your chin down. Namaste.